What's up, everybody? This is Suresh from Mind is a Monkey coming at you guys with another episode of Let's Check Out Some Diecast. In today's video, we are going to be checking out some of these Hot Wheels mainlines, silver series like Peanuts, Salt Flat, and some of the mystery cars that I picked up in the past couple of months. So without further delay, let's dive right into it. So as usual, I have saved some pieces for the last, but other than that, we will not be following any specific order. In checking out these cars, it's just going to be random, pick them off the pile, and then kind of like check them out. Okay, and these are mostly cars from A, B, C assortments of 2026 Hot Wheels mainlines. So some of the folks have started seeing D-case assortments show up at Dollar Trees, but the stores near me have not got them. So I have not seen any of the D-case stuff yet. All right. Okay. That being said, our first car for today is the Porsche 911 Turbo Cabriolet. All right, this is a recolor. I think this made its debut like last year, where it came out like in a nice burgundy of a purple color. All right, so this time it's in an elegant black and white. All right, so that beautiful, top kind of like curled all the way back, right? Nice Porsche symbol there, Cabriolet for lettering, all right? And Porsche Turbo Cabriolet, all right? That's what it's written on the back, all right? Let's set that right there. And up next is a Ford Mustang GTD. Now, this is a model that would have been the BK Super, but this is the mainline version of that model. This made its debut last year when Mustang was celebrating its 60 years, and they had like a lot of they had like a pretty cool mini lineup of Mustang cars in Hot Wheels among the mainlines last year. So this is the Ford Mustang GTD. So pretty rugged construction. This exactly looks like a Mustang, and they've just added the spoiler. And I definitely think that GTD is supposed to be some kind of like a racing spec. Anyhow, so pretty cool Mustang model, and I like that shade. I mean, you could say that this mainline shade and the Super, they were like totally different colors. It's not like the Super was like the Spectraflame color of this one or something like that. Okay. Up next is a new model for 2026, another add to my tuned collection. All right. So is the Pagani Zonda Cinque or Sync. Hopefully I'm not killing it. All right. So it's a cute a chorizo version of the Pagani Zonda. All right, in this small scale. So definitely like a very cute add to my tune collection. All right. Up next, we have the Corvette Grand Sport. All right. Now we have seen this, a few times in Fast and Furious assortments. All right. Now this has got some really nice racing stripes. All right. So and almost got like some BRE vibes to it. Do you see? I mean, the blue. I would agree. The blue is like a lighter version of what you would see on a BRE car, but that red, blue, and white kind of like bring a lot of BRE racing vibes to this one. All right. So there we have the Corvette Grand Sport. All right. Let's set it right there. Up next, we have a Mazda MX-5 Miata. Now, I remember telling this on an earlier video, possibly the compact racers. Like whenever I see a Mazda MX-5 Miata, I will pick it up in memory of, Ryu Asada, the late Hot Wheels designer. Thank you for all these beautiful models that you have given us. Now, this one looks like, a pretty modified version of a Mazda. And I think, if I remember it correctly, this a recolor of this, a different color scheme of this was actually the Legends Tour winner, and possibly that came out like last year. All right, so this is more of a recolor of that particular version. So very cool graphics. All right, so okay, let's set it right there. Up next, we have a Bugatti Bolide. We have seen a couple of releases of this Bugatti Bolide, and this time it's probably the third or the fourth mainline release of this particular car. I always enjoy picking up this particular model because it's also a favorite of my son. All right, let's set it right there, possibly in the back, because okay, I'm just like spacing out the cars. Up next, we have a Batmobile. Now, this is the Batmobile from the more recent Batman movie with Robert Pattinson as Batman. All right. I really like this rugged build of a Batmobile. Wow. You should see it in the movie. It's really, really cool. Right. And I think there was also a premium version of this, which is cooler because the premium version is a slightly larger variation of the typical 1:64 mainlines that we see. That gives the designer a little more canvas space to add more details, you know. So very beautiful add to my Batmobile collection. So let's set it right there. Up next, this one is for the Mopar fans, the 69 Dodge Charger Daytona. Wow, we have come to love this model, haven't we? All right, so we have seen this as mainlines, as super, and a couple of times even as part of Fast and Furious specialities among mainlines, right? So there we have the 69 Dodge Charger Daytona. And look at those racing stripes. And it's even got some, Stanley's, Dodge, and a lot of deco there, racing deco, MWG, right? But when I look at the card back, the only thing that's called out is Dodge. So I'm assuming all of these are just with the exception of Dodge, of course, right? So Stanley might be a shout out to the designer behind this model is what I'm thinking. All right. So 56 and 426 Ci. All right. Pretty cool. Very nice deco. All right. Okay. Let's set it right there. Up next, we have a Barbie Dream Camper with a special feature. And if you want to know more details about the special feature, you got to turn it back, right? So it has a tray that comes down on the side of the cab. So that's the special feature. We will check it out in a minute. Barbie Dream Camper Van. So this one is definitely like a favorite, especially among dads who would pick them up for their daughters, right? So it's like a eat out table, right? They're just like pops out from the side of the van. All right, so you could have your little picnic by the side of the van. All right, so it's pretty cool when you check out all these details. So it's got plates and some glasses and some cutlery set there. All right, with the with the Barbie symbol there. All right, so pretty cool. Always a fun pickup from stores. Up next, we have the McMurtry Spearling. All right, this is a new model for 2025, and this was released as part of the A case assortment. There is a possibility this was part of the Q case, and I kind of like missed it. So there we have the McMurtry Spearling. All right, and since this is like a new model, it's a race car. 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1.5 seconds is just a start for this 1000 bhp beast. It went viral after smashing a famous hill climb track record in England. So there we have it. All right. So born in 2021 in England and designed by McMurtry Automotive. All right. So there we have it. So got a lot of Cadillac project car vibes, like the futuristic hypercar kind of contour. All right. So pretty cool. Wondering if it'll make more appearances in premiums anytime soon. Up next, we have a JDM favorite 2018 Honda Civic Type R. I'm just going to take a quick minute and draw the light a little closer. All right, there we have. All right, now what is this OJs? Is it OJs, CJs? I tried to kind of like do some groundwork on that, but I was not able to find anything. Do you know what that is? If you do, please share your thoughts in the comments. This is part of the Night Speed mini series. So the Honda Civic Type Rs are always fun pickups. I mean, you could give it to someone who's a JDM fan. You could give it to someone who owns a Honda Civic Type R. All right. So this time it's like a simple and elegant execution, I should say. Full white, but for that deco right there. All right. Let's set it right there. Up next, we have a pretty cool pass and go new for 2026 model, and this is celebrating 90 years of Monopoly, right? Wow, Monopoly is possibly the the one game that has had so many crossovers, right? There's like Monopoly Harry Potter, there's like Monopoly Lego. I'm just making it up. Definitely, if there's a game that has seen a lot of crossovers, it's Monopoly, right? And what more of a special way to celebrate 90 years than a collab with Hot Wheels, right? And the fun thing is, this is actually resembling one of the Monopoly tokens, right? And it's called Pass and Go. Now, I don't know. Oh, the fun fact is like really cool. It's like one of those Monopoly cards. Collect $200 because it's time to celebrate 90 years of passing go. Make sure you pick up a get out of jail free card as you burn rubber and speed past every street, railroad, and utility across the board. So that's like a really nice touch. Wow. It's really, really a cool car. So I kind of like love these collaborations between Hot Wheels and all of these other brands. They are always something to kind of like keep really young kids engaged with Hot Wheels, right? So up next is the Mazda RX-7. Now, I mean, I already like this model, right? I'm not gonna lie, but this one specifically piqued my curiosity because of that comic kind of like deco, right? All right, let's open it up. I found this deco really cool, right? I think, it's probably got some roots in some Japanese art, right? So Mazda, K Hull, and C1. Now, K Hull and C1 are definitely shout outs to some designers, is what I'm thinking. All right. It's also got NG Kim and AA. Now, I'm saying these are all designers because the back of the card only calls out Mazda for copyrights and trademarks and stuff like that, right? So definitely, I think those are shout outs. I really love this culture where Hot Wheels is giving shout outs to all its designers. I think that's really cool. All right, so there we have a beautiful looking Mazda RX-7. Up next is a fan favorite 67 Camaro. All right, in gold. I think this one was from C-Case, right? All right, and it's a pretty beautiful looking Camaro. And look at that grill. Wow, that's looking awesome. And for those of you who are new to Hot Wheels, this used to be a casting with a moving part where you could actually open the hood even in a mainline. But I think in order to keep production costs to a minimum, Hot Wheels slash Mattel kind of like retooled it, and now the basic mainline version does not have an opening hood. So which is kind of like a bummer, but yeah, I guess it kind of like helps to keep things at that price point. All right, and it's got a nice chrome interior. All right, okay, so there we have another fan favorite casting, the 67 Camaro. Up next, we have some Hot Wheels Silver Series pickups from Peanuts. Now, these are pretty old. I think the copyright says 2024, which means these should have come out like last year, right? There were like 5 cars, but I only picked 3, the ones that I, kind of like collect. So one is the Volkswagen Drag Beetle that has Snoopy and Woodstock right there, all right? 2 best buddies in comics. Peanuts Social Club, and it's a drag beetle. I kind of like try to collect all the variations of this drag beetle. All right, so it's a pretty cool bug looking car. All right, I'll set it there. Up next, we have the 60s Fiat 500D Modificado. Now, I picked this because, I collect this casting. All right. But what I did not know is that it ended up being the 5-on-5 metal on metal chase. All right. So, which was like kind of like a sweet deal. All right. So, this one has Peppermint Patty. And oh my goodness, I forgot the name of this character. Pretty awesome duo. These ones are. If you have read the Phoenix comics, and if you have not, I definitely would recommend checking out the Peanuts comics. It's just like a a world that you would want to get lost in. All those kids and all those funny emotions. All right. All right. So there we have the gangs all here. Peanuts. All right. So pretty cool. Casting with the whole metal on metal thing that goes all the way from here through the base, through this exposed air cooled engine right there. All right. And this also has Sally and Linus. Okay. So Sally always keeps calling Linus her sweet babu, and Linus keeps rejecting her advances. All right, so here we have Peppermint Patty and this one awesome character who's like such a nerd, and she always keeps Peppermint Patty in check. I have to find that out. Give me a second. Marcy. That's Marcy. So that's Peppermint Patty and Marcy. Such a cool ad. Actually, I'm like super happy that I picked these up. All right, and up next we have one more. Again, right, this is celebrating the 75 years of Peanuts. Just like a moment ago we saw how Monopoly was celebrating its 90 years with Mattel. So I really love these collabs. They kind of like create some magical pieces. All right, so this is a 1985 Honda CRX, and the card art is a legendary scene where Lucy is always tricking Charlie Brown to kick the football, and she would just, pick it up. She would just like take it away when Charlie Brown is, going to kick it, and Charlie Brown would just end up falling to the ground. All right, so that's like a ongoing joke among the many years of this comic strip. All right, so there we have a 1985 Honda CRX, and shout out to my friend Tom Splain who helped pick this up for me. So thank you, Tom. Friends like you really make this hobby easy and so much fun. All right, so now this has got Snoopy in a rugby helmet playing football with Woodstock on one side, and on the other side we have the legendary scene where Lucy and Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown is really thoughtful whether or not he has to kick the ball, whether or not he can trust Lucy this time. All right, and there we have the signature of the legendary Schultz, the genius behind the Peanuts comics. All right, so which is pretty awesome. Which actually tells me so there are like two sides to every car, right? So I think this is Joe McCool, right? Whenever Snoopy is like in his glasses and hanging out, his avatar is called Joe McCool, and this is Snoopy and Woodchuck possibly enjoying hot chocolate. So there's like two sides to every car, so that's why I just went back to the drag beetle to check out the second side. Up next, we have a pretty stunning Datsun 240Z. Now, I have seen some of the cars in the D mix. There are like a couple of cars which follow the same color scheme. So possibly when I start finding those DK cars, I'll bring this for show and tell, and we can put them side by side and check them out. So now this one has got 23 on the side. There's actually a reason why, a lot of Datsun and Nissan cars have 23. I literally saw a reel on Instagram yesterday where the gentleman was explaining it. So, but I did not see the end of it. Okay, bummer. Gotta go find it out. All right. So we have Yokohama and for Dekar and Datsun lettering, the number 23. All right. So pretty awesome. This casting has been around for some time. All right. So, but definitely like a pretty cool ad to any Datsun lover. All right, let's set that right there. Up next is another Hot Wheels Silver Series pickup, the Salt Flat, and this one is a 1932 Ford. All right, there were other cars, but I kind of like the 1932 Ford ended up being the only car that I digged from the series, and coincidentally, it ended up being a metal-on-metal model. Now, I did not plan that. It was pure coincidence. Trust me. I'm not making that up. All right. Okay, so there we have the 1932 Ford. Okay, Salt Flat. So I think the card art shows them racing in some kind of like a desert. So, and possibly all this dirt that you see is possibly all the debris coming from all the desert racing. I'm just guessing. All right, 920 and Goodyear for a deco. Now, what is that other star? It is definitely a licensed thing. It says, nope, that is as much as I can read. I'm not able to read that, but definitely a licensed deco right there. All right. So there we have, and also sporting those semi-premium wheels. All right. There we have the 32 Ford from Hot Wheels Silver Series Salt Flat. All right. Up next, we have the 16 Lamborghini Centenario Roadster in that stunning yellow color. I am a sucker for Lamborghinis, so I end up picking one up every time I see a new release. All right, awesome Lambo sticker and beautiful contours, just beautiful contours. Almost looks like a successor of an Aventador, right? This Centenario Roadster, all right? Okay, let's set that right there. Up next, we have a Polestar TRX. This, thanks to Instagram, I found that this was actually the result of a design contest that was hosted by Polestar, all right? You see, I mean, there's something that the card says. Born from a dream, this rugged off-roader blasts through the mud with unstoppable speed, transforming from a concept to the polished champion of the 2024 Polestar Design Contest. See, that's what I was referring to. So pretty awesome. And this one's born in 2024, Gothenburg, Sweden. Winner of the Polestar Design Contest, Shashank Shaker. Wow, that's pretty cool. So it's also a shout out to the winner, Shashank Shaker. So congratulations, Shashank, if you ever end up seeing this video. So that was an awesome design. So it also sports a couple of surfboards in the back, all right? So, and looks very electric, right? Looks very electric for a model, all right? So new model for 2025, the Polestar TRX 0102 for surfboards, all right? So let's set it right there. Up next, we have a Porsche 911 Carrera T, which is actually a new model for 2026. I mean, how many Porsches are really out there? I mean, you would think that you have seen all the Hot Wheels Porsche models, and then Hot Wheels would go ahead and release a new model, all right? So, which is pretty awesome if you think of it. That is literally the spectrum of Porsche models out there, all right? So now execution wise, this is like a very simple execution for paint scheme. Although, you gotta, kind of appreciate the two-tone with a black roof and the gray body. Now, there's an Easter egg here. Typically, Porsche is what is written here, but this time they have changed it and written Hot Wheels there. Okay, that's new. That's a first time. All right, let's set that right there. Up next, we have a McLaren Formula One team F1 car. Formula One, all right? So now this is a repeat casting of, a release that we saw last year, all right? So this was part of the 5-pack, I guess, and you can notice the difference in the wheels. So that's the only prominent difference. To be honest, it's just that hub being painted copper versus it being unpainted. So that's the only difference. But other than that, I think it's pretty much the same car as far as I can see. Possibly this one having the additional MasterCard sponsor, right? So pretty much I think everything is the same. This one's got Dropbox and Dash, while this one's got Workday, all right? So those are like some of the minor details, but definitely if you think, oh, it's got like no changes at all, there are definitely some changes which could which could make it valid to be called a variation, all right? So set that right there. Okay, I guess now we are moving to the section where I said I saved some of the best for the last. Up next, we have an 83 Chevy Silverado, all right? So, which is, kind of like definitely one of the top 10 popular Hot Wheels castings, I guess. This time it's sporting something called a Black Widow exhaust, for a deco, right? Now, as you can see, there is also like a legit deco right there, Black Widow exhaust. So it's just pretty cool. And, all the tiny lettering that you're seeing is Black Widow exhausts. All right. So definitely a pretty cool add to my Silverado collection. So that's pretty awesome. Fantastic. Let's set it right there. And another new model for 2026. This is the Hot Wheels Legends Tour winner. Now, this one is the Legends Tour winner for 2024. Okay, it's the La Liebre. Now, I think this was basically, you know, a custom 1968 Ford Falcon based race car, right? And this was developed by Cars and Coffee Chile. So that's the sign right there, Cars and Coffee. They are a Chile based organization. And they also kind of like designed this car, modified it out of the 68 Ford Falcon. And I think that's one of the main factors that go into deciding the Legends Tour winner, right? The racing spirit and kind of like the modifications that's been applied, and possibly also the fact like how easily could this be made into a Hot Wheels car, right? So definitely a pretty cool looking car, and I think this is like an exact replica of the winner car, and you kind of like gotta hand it over to them. It's very minimal and very chic. Okay. All right. Let's set it right there. Cars and Coffee. I really like that spoiler and that logo. All right. Okay. Let's set it right there. And now is possibly a good time to open these mystery cars. Now, I missed out on some of these mystery cars from my local store. So the ones that I missed, I ended up getting them from eBay. Wow, that is a cool looking bone shaker, right? Now, typically among mystery cars, the 1, 2, 3 are the only cars which are like really cool. But this one, even though it was a number 4, ended up being a rock star of a car, which is like the bone shaker. I have some friends, one of my friends, Keith, collects all the bone shaker variations. So the bone shaker is like a really popular car among collectors, right? So, I think it's like an acquired taste. So I definitely picked this up because, it's a bone shaker. All right, let's set it right there. And another one from the same series. Okay, it's a good thing that I saw it before. It's also a bone shaker. So I will, let that stay unopened. All right, now I picked this series up from eBay. This is number 3. Now, this was a series. So the mystery series always comes with a sticker and a car. Okay. Now, this is a Lotus Emira. This is number 3 in that series. And let's see. This is number 2 from that series. Ooh, check that out. That's an Aston Martin, right? So it's an Aston Martin Valhalla. If you remember, this was a car that was introduced as part of the James Bond movie, right? So was it Spectre or was it No Time to Die? I don't remember. Okay, and this one is the number 1 car of the mystery model series. Wow, check that out. It's a Lamborghini Aventador Roadster. Wow, Lamborghini Aventador J. Apparently, that's what they call the Roadster model of the Lamborghini Aventador. It's got 63, which is actually a reference to the year in which Lamborghini was started. I mean, I kind of like found that after the fact, from a previous video, but it's a good thing that I'm able to put that to good use in this video. All right, so that's a pretty cool car. Now, I have like a number 4 from the series. Now, I don't know why I picked this up, but typically, I picked this. Now I remember why I picked this. I think I picked this because this one has glow in the dark wheels. Yeah, I have a feeling that these wheels glow in the dark. Yeah. So I think that's why I possibly picked up this model. And this one is called a Macit Go model. All right. Okay. So I will put that, glow in the dark to the test later. All right. So anyway, I think that's all the cars that I had for you guys today. Wow, this ended up being a much longer video than I had anticipated, but it was all fun. So hope you guys had some fun checking out these cars with me. Till I meet you guys next time, this is Suresh signing off. Rock on and stay awesome. Bye everyone.